You're listening to Greater Good Radio Hawaii. Today's guest is Josh Feldman, president of Tori Richard Limited. Josh joined his family company in 1993 and helped to take over the mainland market and increase sales by 500% over 3 years. In 2003, Tori Richard opened 4 flagship high-brand concept stores within 14 months. Please visit us online at greatergoodradio.com.
So with your experience now having a success working in a family business, what kind of advice could you give others that are either just starting to work within their family businesses or thinking about it?
Well, the majority of businesses in this country are family businesses, but there's still very much a stigma attached within the family, usually among successor generations, about going back into the business. Gosh, it's almost like I couldn't make it on my own, so my fallback was the family business. Those of us that actually work in the family business know that that couldn't be further from the truth, and if anything, it's actually easier in the outside world. But my advice to anyone who has that opportunity, and it is an opportunity, is absolutely, positively take the opportunity. Because things can be achieved that could not be achieved on your own. And there's absolutely no shame in a family business and continuing a legacy that your parents had started.
When you joined the company, how many employees were there?
Well, it's interesting because when we came back, we at that point had our own factory, which had sewers and traditional factory, garment factory sense. And one of the most difficult things we had to do, due to workers' comp costs, at that point in the mid-'90s, they were skyrocketing, and our insurer went out of business. So we got put in what was called the assigned risk pool, which meant that the state covered the insurance, and their premiums were running, I think, around 15% of payroll, which is almost triple the national average. We had to close our factory as a result of that. The other component was that we couldn't get the capacity and the quality out of any factory in Hawaii. So we let 70 people go. So at that point, we had about 140 employees. So immediately, we went down to, I think, around 60 or so. Today, we have a little over 100, and that includes all the employees for the retail stores.
Wait, so when you came into this business, you stepped into a problem.
Oh, it was a major problem.
Yeah.
No, this was not a thriving family business when we stepped into it. It was a business that had been managed absentee and was sort of crawling along, limping along. So
what were the main things you did in order to get out of that? What were the first things that you had to attack?
The first thing we had to attack was costs. And then the second thing we had to attack was product, because that, in our business, that is the most important thing. The right product makes up for a lot of mistakes. Makes up for bad marketing. It makes up for any kind of mistake you can imagine. If you have a product people want and it retails, everything else comes easy.
So how did you reduce operation costs?
Well, and that's probably led to my bad time management skills today. I almost said micromanagement, but my bad time management skills, because one of the things I learned early on was that God was in the details. We looked at almost everything, from where we printed order forms to thread costs to costs for toilet paper, every single thing. And it's a habit that I learned because we were so hand-to-mouth at that time, that even today I find myself questioning these bills, but it does take up a lot of time that I could be using better elsewhere.
But also, since you own the company, you kind of have that, it's coming out of your pocket. So
absolutely,
you look at things a lot differently than if you just work somewhere. Absolutely.
And that's also one of the benefits of a family business, particularly if you're fortunate to work with siblings or other family members, is that they care about the business a lot differently than other employees. Now, I should say that we have a number of employees that have been with the company over 40 years. But the typical, we looked at it not too long ago, the average length of employment at the company is about 15. So we have groups of employees that have been with us 20, 30, 40, even one for 48 years. And then we have employees that have been with us only 5 years. And the employees that have been with us a long time, they are very much like family.
Did you have any issue when you first came in that people didn't want to give you respect because you're your boss's son?
Absolutely. And I think that's a pretty common element in any family business, particularly as a newcomer comes in. And it makes it that much more difficult for the people like myself coming into the business, because there's this sort of gnawing at the back of your mind that, does this person, actually value what I'm contributing, and questioning yourself. So you have to work twice as hard, show up early, leave late.
Thanks, Josh. We'll talk more about that after the break. Stay tuned for more on Sports Radio 1420.